Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. Today we would like to present about conceptual foundation of ESG or SRI Sukuk and Green Sukuk. Let's look at our first slide, Introduction to ESG. Today we are introducing ESG, which stands for Environmental, Social and Governance. It is a framework that helps investors look beyond just money to see how a company handles its ethical and long-term value. Similarly, Islamic finance is a system based on Sharia law that focuses on fairness, ethical conduct and social justice. Together, these ideas drive the rapid global growth of sustainable finance, creating long-term economic growth while protecting our environment and society. Moving on to our second slide, the role of ESG. Why does ESG matter so much today? Simply put, it helps investors find long-term risks and opportunities while encouraging responsible business practice that improve corporate resilience. ESG and sustainable investing are closely connected. ESG gives us the exact criteria to measure a company's sustainability performance, while sustainable investing uses these factors to make better investment decisions. In the end, both aim to do the same thing, achieve good financial returns while creating a positive impact on the world.
Hi, now I'll be explaining on what's SRI, which is the Sustainable and Responsible Investment. You have to think of SRI as a major shift in how the world invests. Today, investors don't really care about profit. They care deeply about protecting the environment, social responsibility, and ethical governance. The goal or objective of SRI is to maintain transparency, stay accountable, and actually hit measurable sustainable targets, like the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So how does SRI relate to ESG? Think of ESG as a checklist we use to evaluate a company. So SRI is the action, and it takes the ESG checklist and actively choose investments that makes a real positive impact. When we bring this into Islamic finance, it's honestly a perfect match because Sharia principle prohibits unethical business practice anyway. So blending it with the modern sustainability goals just makes sense. This natural fit is exactly why Malaysia was able to set up as a global pioneer, launching the world's very first free Sukuk framework back in 2014.
Today, I will explain the relationship between Islamic finance and sustainability and why ESG or SRI Sukuk naturally fit within Islamic finance. Islamic finance and sustainability share similar objectives because both aim to achieve long-term economic growth while protecting society and the environment. First, Islamic finance prohibits riba or interest. Financing must be linked to a real asset and productive economic activity. For example, Green Sukuk can fund renewable energy projects such as solar power, supporting sustainable economic development. Second, Islamic finance prohibits harar, which refers to excessive uncertainty and speculation. ESG and SRI Sukuk require clear disclosure on how funds are used and the sustainability outcome achieved. This promotes transparency and accountability. Third, Islamic finance encourages ethical and socially responsible investment. Therefore, ESG and SRI Sukuk are commonly used to finance projects such as renewable energy, healthcare, education, affordable housing, and sustainable transportation, creating positive social and environmental impact. Finally, ESG or SRI Sukuk support the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, including quality education, clean energy, good health, and climate action. Islamic finance and sustainability are highly complementary through ethical investment, transparency, and social responsibility. ESG or SRI Sukuk contribute to sustainable development while remaining fully Sharia compliance.
Next, I will explain the differences between conventional bonds and Sukuk. Firstly, conventional bonds are debt instruments. Investors lend money to the issuer and receive periodic interest payments, with the principal repaid at maturity. On the other hand, Sukuk are Sharia-compliant financial certificates. They represent ownership or beneficial interest in an underlying asset, project, or service. Returns are generated from the performance of this asset rather than interest. These are several key differences between the two. First, in terms of relationship, Sukuk are based on asset-related transactions such as sale, lease, or partnerships, while conventional bonds are based on a loan contract. Secondly, regarding ownership, Sukuk holders have ownership interest in the underlying assets, whereas bondholders only have a debt claim against the issuer. Third, Sharia approval is required for the Sukuk to ensure compliance with the Islamic principles. Conventional bonds only require approval from regulatory authorities. Fourth, the return to the investor in Sukuk comes from profits generated by asset or business activities, while bondholders receive interest payments. Lastly, Sukuk must comply with Islamic principles and avoid elements such as riba, whereas conventional bonds are not subject to Sharia requirements.
Next, we move to key characteristics of ESG or SRI and Green Sukuk. First characteristic is sebuah layer of governance. Traditional conventional bonds are just debt promise, but the Sukuk represent an actual fractional ownership stake in tangible and real world asset. This completely avoids riba, which is interest,
around, which is uncertainty and unethical projects. At the exact same time, they strictly follow international green standards like the ICMA Green Bond Principles. Second characteristic is locked-in purpose-driven funding. The money raised cannot be used for generic corporate expenses. It is strictly ring-fenced to fund projects that do actual good for society and the planet. We are talking about things like wind and solar farms, energy efficient buildings, public transit, schools, hospital and community welfare programs. Next, no room for greenwashing. To ensure companies don't just say they are green, issuers are legally bound by strict transparency rules. They must regularly publish real impact assessment reports to prove exactly where the money went and measure the actual environmental and social results. Lastly, massive dual market appeal. By bridging Islamic financial theology with global ethical mandates, they open the doors to a much wider pool of investors. They draw in traditional Islamic funds while simultaneously capturing the attention of mainstream global ESG fund managers who might have never looked at Islamic instruments before.
Alright, so let's talk about the true backbone of sustainable Islamic finance, which is Maqasid al-Sharia, or its importance, which essentially translates to the broader objective of Islamic law. There's actually 5 main pillars and it aligns with modern ESG and sustainable goals. So the first one is Al-Din, or protecting faith and ethics. In the financial world, this means prioritizing risk sharing and backing our investment with real tangible assets. This naturally protects the economy from destructive speculative bubbles and completely locks out harmful industries like gambling and alcohol. So the second one is An-Nafs, which focuses on safeguarding human life and health. Green and SRI Sukuk bring the principle to life in the real world by channeling capital straight into energy, healthcare and projects that protects our well-being. Third, we have Al-Alq, which is all about nurturing the human mind. Sustainable finance plays a huge role here by funding physical infrastructures like schools and education facilities, so we can eliminate ignorance and really upgrade our human potentials. So the fourth one is An-Nas, securing the future generation. Think of the standard definition of sustainability, which is meeting our need today without ruining the world for the kids of tomorrow. That's exactly what the pillar stands for, making sure we hand down stable, healthy ecosystem to our descendants. And finally, we have Al-Mal, which is preserving and circulating wealth fairly. For an economy to be resilient, wealth can't be sitting at the top. It needs to circulate actively throughout the society. Sustainable Sukuk are designed to make exactly that happen. That's exactly what the pillar stands for, making sure we hand
example of factors in project finance through ESG or SRI Sukuk. First, renewable energy helps reduce greenhouse gas emissions, decrease dependency of fossil fuels, and support the transition to clean energy sources. For example, solar power plants, wind farms, and hydroelectric power stations. A notable Malaysian example is the Tandau Energy Green SRI Sukuk, which raised about 250 million ringgit to finance a solar photovoltaic plant in Budak Sabah. The project is contribute to clean energy generation and supports Malaysian environmental sustainability goals. Second, green buildings, designed to minimize environmental impact through efficient use of energy, water, and construction materials. The Sukuk is a green Islamic bond, where the proceeds are used to fund a specific environmentally sustainable infrastructure project. As a pioneer, Malaysia issued the world's first green Sukuk valued 59 million in 2017. Third, sustainability transportation. Transportation is a major contributor to global carbon emissions. ESG or SRI Sukuk can be used to finance transportation projects that promote low carbon mobility and environmental sustainability. Such projects improve accessibility while reducing traffic congestion and fuel consumption and air pollution. Future significance of ESG or SRI. The importance of this Sukuk is expected to grow as demand for sustainable investments increase worldwide. The strong governance, transparency, and ability to attract both Islamic and ESG-focused investors make them a powerful tools for financing sustainable projects. As a pioneer in the field, Malaysia is well positioned to continue leading the development of sustainable Islamic finance and support the achievement of global sustainability goals. In conclusion, ESG or SRI Sukuk and a green Sukuk demonstrate how Islamic finance can effectively support sustainability development while remaining fully aligned with Sharia principles. Throughout this presentation, we have seen the Islamic finance and sustainability share common values such as ethical investment, transparency, social welfare, risk sharing, and long-term value creation.